welcome to the Crazy Courage podcast. My name is Nick, and I'm here with Bryan Jones. He's the owner of Bryan Jones Photo and Video. They are experts in, wedding and corporate projects. Look at that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, all right, I'm going to put you on the spot first thing. I know I said I wouldn't do that, but I'm going to do it. Do you prefer corporate or do you prefer weddings?
Honestly, I prefer weddings.
Prefer weddings? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You can set your watch to a lot of weddings. Really, I mean,
Also true.
we're actually going to do our 1,000th wedding this summer.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So, yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to
1,000 already.
You know what? It's one of those things that when you first start off in this, you're like, how many do I have in me? And I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people finish their careers at 200, 500. Very few get to this level. It's a little sobering to know I probably won't get to 2,000.
Oh, I mean, if you're at 1,000 and that you're outrunning the competition, you're doing really well.
It means I would have to do this for another 20 years.
That's funny. Now,
yeah.
Do you feel okay? You're coming up to 1,000 weddings. It's kind of a big milestone. I assume that you know what you're doing by now. But when you go into a wedding, do you feel the pressure of making sure you get this right? Because it's like a one-take scenario, right?
You know what's a funny thing? I have a little bit of anxiety the day before any wedding I have to shoot.
And is it because of that? Because there is that bit of pressure?
Yeah. And then I show up there and I'm just like centered.
You're like an athlete, right? You show up for the big race and you're
It's very strange. It's something that personally I'm like working through, and I've noticed like over the last several years, I'm like, why do I feel so like anxious about it? I'm like, done this before. You do this every weekend from May to October, and we get there and it's fine. Everything's fine. So,
but does that now the fact that you get anxious about it, does that make it more exciting in terms of this is like I like the rush a little bit. I enjoy that there's a bit of pressure that I kind of have to perform.
Honestly, maybe there is. Yeah, because I do have to live up to it. I do have to live up to the expectations that my clients have on me. So,
right.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me ask you this. Things have gone wrong during weddings, I'm sure. Weather, unforeseen circumstances must have, right?
And you know what's funny? All that anxiety never affects me.
No, right? Because
so
it is what it is.
It's honestly, I'm going to tell you, it's such a mental thing with me. I've had wedding dreams.
Okay.
Where I had one dream where we had 3 weddings booked. I had to go shoot someone. The other 2 weddings I'm not at are going fine. My second shooter is not showing up to the wedding I'm shooting. So I panic and I freeze and decide not to shoot the bride getting ready on my own wedding. And then I drive to the wedding and all I can think of is, how much am I going to get sued for this? And then I wake up.
Then you wake up. That's fine. Jeez,
I've had one where I was late for a ceremony, but I was in the parking lot. And then I got into a car accident. I got into a car accident in the parking lot, and my second shooter, who's like kind of like my second guy, is walking off in a completely different direction on his cell phone as I yell out his name. Sorry, there's a lot of weird things up here.
Yeah. Apparently, I unlocked open the floodgates there. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm pretty much an open book.
I love it. That's what we're here for. We're gonna go through all those chapters and pages. So let's talk about this. So we're talking about 1,000 weddings. That's where you're at right now. Do you have a number for corporate videos that you've done or shoots? or is that something you don't track
That's
as
something I've never
closely?
actually kept track on. And it's only because corporate videos and projects and headshots and whatnot, it's so different.
Okay.
It's so inconsistent.
Okay.
And the one thing about corporate projects that people don't realize, I'll, a friend of mine, Bill Goyette, he
Yeah.
owned a carpet cleaning company for offices, and he bought it off somebody. And then after 2 years, he's like, "Oh, this is great. We're making money hand over fist. We'll probably sign up a couple other people." What he didn't realize is that most office cleaning companies just cut your contract out of nowhere after a year or two, and they're just like a week before, like, "Yeah, we're going with somebody else. Thank you for your service."
Ooh,
And
that's
he
rough.
so when you could equate to this at Future Shop. Remember at Future Shop we had a new cleaning company every year.
Right. Right.
We had a new company doing flooring, and a big part of that is security.
Really
Companies don't come. Big companies don't like people to know too many things about their business and their structure
interesting.
what and
Interesting.
whatnot. So yeah, like a lot of and corporate's the same way. Corporate, I had a couple of big contracts. One of my bigger clients, even though she like didn't live here, did a lot of work in Ottawa. She brought me to work in New Jersey for another client, and that client has since moved out of that state. She's moved on from other things. I used to do a bunch of corporate shoots for about 3 years for the organization that does private schools in Canada,
Okay.
and they switch their head of company every 3 years.
Oh, I see.
So every
And with
three
that,
years, they're like, we're not doing this anymore.
fun, fun. Yeah.
So corporate's a bit of a challenge, and you have to be on top of it. It's tougher to get big corporate, and that's kind of what you really want to get. Like, you'd want to get like a Costco or whatever, because like they're not going to change over their people too much, their head of marketing or anything like that too often.
Fair. Fair. Interesting. Interesting. And do you go after that kind of stuff, or you're like, if it comes along, I'm good. I'll.
I'm making an effort to go after a lot more things. I'm making
Okay.
an effort to connect with more people,
Okay.
corporate wise, because hey, we had an amazing year 2022 corporate wise on top of the wedding business, and we had a lot of projects that were on the back burner for a couple of years, and then we ended up shooting. We had a great project with the government and another company that was an engineering company, where we essentially shot them build a house, and then we watched them set it on fire.
Nice.
It was super fun. I'm not allowed
Very
to
fun.
share
No.
it.
Okay.
I wish, because some of the footage is I could probably show you privately, but like
Sure.
some of
Sure.
the footage from that is it's amazing. Yeah,
Wow. Awesome.
yeah.
So now, clearly, there's more variation in the corporate projects. Would you say? Like there's more of a formula for the weddings? Is that
Oh yeah, there's more of a formula. There's definitely more variation. Right now, I'm working with a security company doing weekly videos. Today, I was shooting work a contractor had done. I shoot headshots for a lot of real estate agents.
okay?
And it was fun because like they put their stuff out there. So I shot photos for this great realtor in Ottawa, Tom Sapinski. He's a former wedding client of mine, and I called him Tom Sadowski one time, which is not his name. So Tom Sapinski, and I was driving in the Glebe, and one of his focuses 6 years ago when he did headshots with me was he was selling a home in the Glebe, and he's like, I need to get on a bus bench or something, whatever. Driving through the Glebe the other day, saw his photo I shot of him on a bus bench. I'm like,
Nice.
that's great. That's awesome.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Good to see your
I
work
love
out there.
I love seeing my work out there. I do.
That's awesome. Now, do you see? Now, do you get? You probably get more of that when it comes to the corporate stuff. I would think because the
Oh yeah,
weddings, you might see it on social media or something, but that's kind of comes and
Yeah.
goes sort of thing. But the
Yeah.
corporate stuff can stick around, like you said, that bus bench, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's exciting. Okay, let's go back in time. We'll go back to how you started. What were you doing before you got into this business, and what was really the catalyst? What crazy thing drove you to it?
So I'm a TV broadcasting grad. I graduated in 2001. I started at Future Shop in 2000 as just a little job before I ended up, getting into the TV industry. I was there for 10 years.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And I ended up, it was tough. If you didn't find a job within that first year, it was really tough. And it was a bit of a grind.
Like in
I knew
TV
I didn't want to do
broadcasting.
news. Yeah, I didn't want to do news. I didn't want to do sports. I wanted to do something more creative, more film like, whatnot. A buddy of mine shot a wedding that his fiance, now wife, was in. And I'm like, give it to me. I just picked up an editing system. I picked up a Mac G5. Let me edit it. Let me see if I can do something with it. So I did that. They liked it. Another friend liked it and said, can you shoot my sister's wedding? Parallel to that, our manager, Greg Finley, at the time, wanted to get the guys from Vancouver to come shoot a video in our store to show our engagement. I told them, why don't you just let me do it? I'll do it. I'll shoot it. I'll edit something. They really liked it. I ended up actually doing a lot of videos on the East Coast for Future Shop.
Really? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Like I ended up shooting like the general managers meetings where they're telling stuff like I should not know as like a salesperson.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just kind of snowballed from there. Originally what happened was I paired up with two people. I was going to be the editor. One guy was going to be the video guy, and one guy was going to be the photos. And we got hired. We did a wedding for like $800 to do all that.
Wow.
And we're like, oh yeah, this will be fine. The one guy who was doing photos, like just such a rapport. He could like just, and he had been shooting photos for 3 months.
Okay.
He was doing like hockey stuff, and he did really well for his first wedding. So I booked 3 more for the next year.
Nice.
About 6 weeks before one of the weddings he was supposed to shoot, he sold all of the equipment, not my equipment, the other guy's equipment, for drugs.
Oh, okay.
Which meant I had to be the photographer.
Did you have any equipment at that time?
No.
No.
I had a Future Shop card with $2,000 in credit on it, so bought a camera, and I took photography to get into TV broadcasting. I took photography in when I was in TV broadcasting. I knew a little bit, not enough. Figured it out. It didn't hurt that we did video alongside some of the best photographers in the city of Ottawa. Got to learn a little bit from those guys. Like there were some great people. Like Photolux was huge back in like 15 years ago. Gilles Martin, or like Masters, Mark Cooper. Like there's no way you can't work alongside guys like that and not learn something.
That's great. Right?
So
that's good stuff.
but,
So
that's pretty much how we started, and we
now,
weren't
well, hold on. How did that go for that wedding that you had to scramble to get the equipment for and figure it out? What was that?
It was fine. I shot it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a moot point. They're not together anymore.
Okay, well, nothing to do with the photography, of course.
No, but they're both. I still know them both to this day. They're both lovely people.
Okay, apart.
Yeah. No, it all went fine. One of the bridesmaids, who's a close friend of mine, she referred me to 2 weddings the following year in 2006.
Okay.
And then I decided to do a wedding show.
Now is the wedding show the first time you're kind of marketing yourself?
Yeah. So years ago, I had a friend, my friend Melanie, back in '04 when I said I might pursue this,
Yeah.
and I'll actually have this on YouTube and TikTok, whatever. Um, said to me, I said to her, I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking of pursuing this. She said to me, that's great. Now you just need to figure out how to market yourself. And my response to that was, what's marketing?
Right.
I don't know what that is.
No, sure.
Been working in sales for 4 years, but I have no idea what marketing is. So
I
it's just
know, and
my
sales is one
thought.
thing though, because you're selling to people who come into the store because of the marketing, right?
Yeah.
So, and that had nothing to do with you. That was, sales is what comes after,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, did the wedding show. My mom and my younger brother helped out for a while. My younger brother helped out for many years. My mom helped out for how many was it? About 3.
Okay.
And then my younger brother said we have to cut her.
That's funny.
A more youthful look, if you will.
Yeah, right. It's a wonderful conversation to have, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, and we did 24 in 2007. That was our first big year.
So that was, now is that directly after the wedding show? That's the year we did 27?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Wow. So that's a big jump, right? You go from
Oh
a
yeah.
handful to, that's when you really start to, but you're still working at Future Shop at this time.
Yeah. I went part-time the summer. I've had a great manager there, Eric Morneau, who allowed me to go part-time
Okay.
at that. He let me go part-time for the summer there. I moved and I went part-time in 2008 in the summer, and I was allowed to do that in Canada. So I did that in 2009. I did not go part-time. I worked full-time and did 30 weddings in 2009 and worked at
Okay.
Future Shop, mainly because I didn't trust my department manager in Canada. I remember saying to myself after the September 2009 wedding show, I already had 12 weddings booked going into the wedding show.
Okay. Like for the
Going,
following year, right?
yeah, going into 2009, I only had 8.
Okay. Wow.
Coming into May long weekend, I only had May long weekend 2009. I only had 18 weddings booked for 2009.
Okay. Okay.
I ended up doing 30 that year.
Wow.
Main thing: change my marketing, change my website.
Now you're
Spent
learning
the,
about marketing. I see.
spent the money on the website.
Clearly it was worth it, right? So the
Oh,
message is spend the money.
100%. Yeah. I've been working with like garbage websites for so long, and I'm just like, I need something that just looks like this and shows this and has links to this.
Yeah, you figured out the formula. Awesome.
Yeah. And constantly we're figuring out the formula. There's constantly something different
Of
that,
course. Yeah, marketing's never done. It's never
no,
like well, we figured out the silver bullet. We never have to change our marketing again.
no, no. And I try not, I do my best not to get lazy about it. And even this year, we redid our website. We didn't have a lot of time to look at stuff during COVID and whatnot. So I took a hard look at my website in May, and I'm like, I have to change this. I wasn't getting a lot of bookings. The work
Okay.
is there, but it's not looking as nice as some of the other websites. So I'm looking at it going, I did a completely new template. One of my old second shooters sent me to Pixie Set. And yeah, I'm looking at my website going, why am I using Times New Roman as my main font? Why am I using italics for every heading? Like, I'm looking at all the things, and I have a guy who on my team who has a degree in design telling me all this stuff. Like, hey, go look at your website, bud. Like, it's not great. You think it looks great, but it's not great.
Nice.
And I could equate a rise in bookings from us changing the website.
Wow. So every time so it sounds like really, I mean, the moral sounds like every time you're putting effort into your marketing, it's translating into revenue for yourself or bookings.
If you do it right, it should.
If you do it right. If you do it right.
I was in Atlantic City for a buddy's bachelor party this year in May. And we're in the DraftKings Sportsbook. I don't know if you do any online sports gambling or whatnot. But one thing I notice about their online app and their gambling, their sportsbook resorts in Atlantic City is the colors all match.
Okay.
So they use two shades of gray and a green.
Interesting.
And when you walk into their sportsbook, it looks like their app.
Okay, so they've clearly got a theme that runs throughout, right?
Absolutely.
The branding, right? If you want to call
In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out Burger. You won't find an In-N-Out Burger in the US that isn't stark white inside with red seats and like white with a little bit of red on their wallpaper. I copied that DraftKings gray and made it part of one of my business cards.
Nice.
With the blue that I use for my website now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now there's more of a theme. It's about branding, right? So you're be more recognizable, more easily recognizable.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I want.
Nice. I love that. And then, so then this brings us. We're getting pretty close to some modern times. You said that one of the evolutions was recently you introduced AI to help you with the photo editing. And you said, remind me again, you said that cut down your time by how much?
From 15 hours to 3.
Wow. And now, to use that AI, did it take a lot of time to find the right AI, to train it?
No, find it, no, because I went to a convention in Las Vegas in March.
Okay.
And one of my favorite photographers, Susan Stripling, was doing a whole course on this is how AI can help you.
Were you skeptical?
So, not really. Same person who directed me to Pixie Set for a website. Her name's Melissa Toy. She's a great, fantastic photographer in Ottawa.
Nice.
Told me about AI, and she told me to like check out Imagine. And I was at the convention. I talked to them at Imagine, and then Susan Stripling told us like, this is what this will do. Nice. And I didn't believe it at first, but like she went step by step and just showed like, and I do this process now. I go through all the wedding photos pretty much right after I get home.
From the wedding?
Yeah.
Okay. So that night, like you're all,
I have a shower, clean up, and I'm sitting here. I've downloaded everything. Wow. It takes me about an hour and a half to go through the photos I want edited.
Okay.
And then I put them in Lightroom, and then I drop the catalog into Imagine, and then that company, that software, edits everything in about 40 minutes.
Okay. Wow.
Most weddings are Saturday, so Monday morning, I spend about an hour to 2 hours looking at the photos, and then they're done. And I do touch-ups in between.
Sure.
In between that, I export them. Once that's all done, I send that catalog back to Imagine, and then the AI just keeps working on it.
Okay. Wow. So, I mean, if you're dropping that from like 15 hours down to 3 overall, maybe you can sleep on Sunday sometimes now, but I'm sure the turnaround times to your clients has to be quite reduced. It must really have
that week.
Happy campers, right?
Oh, that week. That week they get their photos.
And I mean, between your team, like, you're shooting a lot of a lot of weddings over the summer, some in the same weekend. That editing was probably your life for the weekdays, I would think. now? What's your
It pretty much still is. It's just
okay?
I can piece some of the video editing out to my team now.
Okay.
I can take care of all the photo editing myself, and the majority of the video editing myself as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I would say we've come a long way from developing photos in a dark room to everything being digital now. AI. I mean, it's
You know what's funny? When I go on vacation, I mostly just use film.
really now is
Yeah,
that just in a preference of yourself? You know,
yeah, pretty much.
okay.
Yeah,
Awesome. Did you like? Is it because you like the developing of the photos afterwards to have that tangible?
yeah.
You know,
I get them to scan them.
no.
it's
Oh, okay.
it feels more like from growing up.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. That's how it used to be. You know, you get the bring a camera to the somewhere to get developed, and who knows what the hell you took, right? You don't know
Yeah.
if there's a thumbprint in there.
Oh, I
Everyone's
know.
blinking and red eyes, and oh my
Well,
goodness.
actually, no, I don't have it up here with me. I bought a film camera in 2011 for $10 off eBay,
Nice.
and it's a Canon camera. It's exactly like my other bodies. All the lenses work, everything.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, all right. Like, do you challenge yourself to take really good photos with that camera and see what you can do compared to what it looks like digital?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to
Because
do it a little bit more. I like doing the film photos for traveling. I think I'm at a point now that I understand which rolls of film I need. For the most part, ISO 400, based on like indoor, outdoor, and not having my film get manipulated by an airport X-ray.
yeah, fair, fair. I
Yeah.
could see how that would be. Has that ever happened?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
Only on like 3200 film, because it ends up getting really grainy. It should not never go in an X-ray. So
Fun, fun. Now, do you bring another, like you go traveling, you bring the film camera, do you bring a digital camera as well? Or just use your phone?
I just use my phone. It depends where I'm going.
Okay.
Like if I'm going overseas somewhere, I'll bring a digital camera with me, especially if it's somewhere I've never been.
Okay. Because you want to make
Like
sure to capture it? Is that
yeah, like I might bring it when I go to California in March, but like for the most part, like I just bring a film camera and my phone.
well, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So we've talked about your journey. And it sounds like it was a pretty gradual rise. What was the
Patience.
tipping point? Patience. Awesome.
Yeah.
What was the tipping point that made you do this full time?
Um, Realizing that I couldn't really. So the four places I've worked in my life are Cashway Building Centers,
Okay.
Blockbuster Video,
Nice.
CD Warehouse, and Future Shop.
There's not a lot of those places around.
They're
There
not
aren't
around.
many
Not
left.
around at all. CD Warehouse was the last one to fall. That was 9 years ago.
Wow.
I'm sure I could have found a job in sales.
Sure.
I've thought about getting my real estate license at some point.
Like even
Um,
now, that would
oh
still
yeah,
dance
yeah,
around. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I personally, I feel I do a good enough job trying to get rapport with people, and especially now, like I never complain about competition. There's so many photographers. There's always been so many photographers.
Sure. But there's always work, right?
But
I
I'm
mean,
also older, right? Like I'm not mid 20s to mid 30s. I'm almost 50. So I need to have my salesman hat on a little bit more to close potential business.
really? Does I
And
mean, Now, does your
And then when
age?
I say salesman hat,
Yeah.
I was never a shady salesperson. You can look at my warranty sales and you'll see that I was not a shady salesman. I finished
That's
a
tough.
month at 1% one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Now,
But
that, but does your age translate to, experience? Like you walk in the door, person sees you for the first time, they're like, "Oh, well, this guy must have a lot of years of experience." Does that work in your favor at all?
it also works in the favor of not being hip enough.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
So there's that. And that, as much as I know a lot, I still want to learn a lot.
Okay.
So I always consider myself a student of the game. I do go to conventions and whatnot to learn for the most part. I mean, half the time they're in Vegas, so
Can't go wrong, right?
I have an excuse to go to Vegas, right? Um, yeah, it's for the most part. I'm just trying to learn.
I mean, clearly you have, you're looking at new technologies. I mean, you're obviously open-minded to new things and learning and
And
making things better for yourself, for your clients.
I feel like at this point, new technology is what's going to help maintain my business. Don't get me wrong, I'm trying to still grow my business.
Okay.
But at this stage, I don't know how much I can continue to grow the business.
Like with yourself and the team that you have, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Because there's only so many hours in the day, right? There's only so many projects you can
Yeah.
possibly take on, before your days are just full, and you have some sort of work-life balance as well. It would be nice, I'm sure.
For sure. And like right now, like we're lucky that we have a few corporate projects to work on
Okay. For
because
this time of year, right? Is that
yeah,
like in the winter months?
yeah, because it can get pretty boring. And I'm okay with like even just like I think one of my favorite months is April because you're not quite into wedding season yet. You have
Okay.
enough work going on that you can fill your days up. But yeah, sometimes it's a struggle to like motivate.
Right, right. Makes sense. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You look outside, it's cold, freezing rain, snow.
Yeah.
I get that. It's tough to get motivated for sure. All right. Well, let's talk about this. Do you miss not going into TV broadcasting?
No,
No.
most of
That's
my
interesting.
friends who went in it are
Yeah.
leaving.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that because of changes in the industry, or they've been disenchanted, or
Disenchantment changes it's both of those things really. One of my close classmates works for CTV, and I'll be honest, he was the most talented person we had in our program. And my wife met his wife, and my wife was like, "Well, why don't you try and do that?" I'm just like, he was the most talented person, and he's just getting his opportunity.
wow?
So
Like
it's
recently? Like,
in the last 4 years, he became a
wow.
reporter.
Okay.
So, and
So when
he'd
you
been
went
with,
TV broadcasting, you wanted to be on air? Is that
I wanted to do film.
film? Okay, behind the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
So you always wanted to be behind the camera. So clearly, you're still doing that
Yeah. I was
now.
in LA in 2011 with my girlfriend at the time, and I remember seeing like all the people shooting stuff and whatnot, and I thought, wow, it'd be so cool to like do this as a living and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, I do this for a living, and I make my own hours, and I don't have to answer to other people. No, I'm good.
Yeah. So that was the big
To me, that
kind of
because I was still trying to pursue that part of my life, and I'm just like, no,
turned out that
you
you
happy?
had everything you needed. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Well, it's good. It's good. I guess it's good that you know that there's no regrets, right? You didn't,
Oh
once you
no,
figured it
no.
out.
But you know what? The thing about regrets is that it means you didn't open another door.
Right?
I don't know how personal I want to get with this. So I submitted my resume and my reel to Much Music, and they told me you should have. We don't take people without 4 years, 5 years experience. They told me to submit it to Fashion TV or ETV, which were new channels for them. I was like, I'm not doing that. I
Okay.
wanted to work with Much Music.
Right.
I was a little close minded. Um, if I had done that, I would have moved to Toronto. I probably wouldn't have dated the girl that I dated that summer. I wouldn't have met one of my close friends who works for me now. I wouldn't have met my wife. No way.
Right.
Um, I live 3 blocks away from her, and we only met at our local pub in 2007.
Funny. Funny.
Um, and incidentally, that girl I dated that summer probably would have not found a path to marry one of my best friends this past summer.
So a lot of things happen based on, the choice. Oh, I mean, it's like that for everyone, right? The choices you make.
I was in that
So,
wedding party, by the way.
nice. That's
I'm
good.
still friends with both of them, right? Like, there's a lot of paths that would not have happened.
For sure. And you wouldn't be where you are today. Like, clearly, I mean, it's always like that.
The thing about moving away, people don't realize, like, there is a level of fractured relationship. And, like, if you're really close with someone, you'll probably still be really close with them. But if you're just kind of close with them, you're probably never really going to see them that much.
Fair. Fair.
Right? Like,
You're right.
um, yeah, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and the videographer that worked with me it doesn't work with me anymore, but worked with me for almost like 16 years. One of the best people I've met. Like, I can check off a bunch of things that, like, these are the things that worked out because I didn't move to Toronto.
Wow. I mean, yeah, we don't know what would have happened in Toronto, but all the things that happened here seem to have really filled your soul. We'll say. All right. So, what would be the biggest challenge you've had in your career? Your whole journey. What was anything that made you question your choices, kind of thing? Does that come up?
Yeah, probably not in a few years.
The COVID. What about COVID?
Nope.
No, COVID didn't scare you.
It's not that COVID didn't scare me. COVID was just challenging for the business.
For sure. For sure. It was hard
But
for
now,
all of us, but I would say a lot harder for people like yourself, where your businesses were the ground to a halt. I would say for you had to pivot.
and I did. I'm a pretty good pivoter. I just started shooting other things. I put myself out there more.
Okay, so it wasn't a problem. You just figured you'd ride it out.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. It's great.
I did not like being on CERB, not at all.
Okay.
I've never been on any type of government assistance, so being on that felt strange. But yeah, overall, like, no, I worked through it.
Nice. Wow. That's awesome. Good for you. I mean, so if that wasn't the scariest part of your journey, or scariest, I'd say most worrisome, we'll say, well, what was for you?
Fall of 2008.
Fall of 2008. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the, what was that? Just before the housing market or the
Yeah.
housing market crash in the U.S. recession.
And it had more to do with not making that leap that we did the previous year. We went from 6 weddings in 06 to 24 weddings in '07 to only 27 weddings in '08.
Okay, so there wasn't the growth that you're
No.
hoping for. Okay.
And then we started 2009 with 30% less bookings for that year.
Okay.
And I'm
Now,
just
do you think that was that was that? Do you think the economy at the time had any bearing on that?
a little
People
bit, but not really.
no.
People get
Okay.
married in recessions.
Okay.
And we were priced right for that at that point. So, and I was actively looking for other work. I didn't want to be at Future Shop.
Okay.
Like, this is before Brent was there. We had a terrible GM, and a terrible department manager. I'll tell you the names off here. The thing that bothered me was I was looking for work. A buddy of mine who worked for a high tech company phoned me. He's like, "We're looking for people. You should give me your resume." I gave my resume, and the boss basically said, "Yeah, he's only been at one place for the last 9 years. He's pretty much unhireable."
How's what?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous when loyalty works against you, and
And I hung up the phone, and it, like, trying to fight back tears. All I could think to myself, I was 32 at the time, thinking to myself, am I Al Bundy? Legit, I remember thinking that. I mean, it's funny now, but I remember walking. There are no girlfriends. Like, I owned a home, but I had no work prospects other than this. I had to make this work.
okay.
That kind of told me, like, I had to make this work because clearly I wasn't going to get hired anywhere. I had an interview at Henry's and I did well on that. They only offered me a job a year later.
Year later, wow.
But at that point, I was leaving.
Okay.
It's unfortunate to say Future Shop was a poorly run company by the time we got to like '08, '09.
I would say. I would.
And I
say
feel
that's
bad. I feel bad for some of the great managers that we work with, like Brent. I always really liked Brent. Brent hired me, and Brent was the last manager I worked for. If I worked for a different manager at the end of my tenure, I probably would have ripped off my shirt and thrown it in that circle at the as I left. Instead, I waited to rip it off while I was in the parking lot.
Why, there you go. Funny. Jeez, that's awesome. All right. Well, I mean, hey,
I burned all my khakis after that.
did you? That's funny. Yeah. Now you could wear whatever uniform you wanted to work, or
I once bought. I remember one time I had shoes that were just slightly off black. I want to say it was a dark midnight brown, and they looked beautiful, and I had to return them.
Of course. Yeah, the things that they worry about, right?
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. Future Shop was.
But I don't listen. I don't regret my time there. I know so many people who are bitter about their time and their experience there. I'm not at all. I learned a lot being there. I learned a lot about sales. I learned a lot about just like team culture. Man, I the best times I worked there had. I mean, the best time I worked there, where I made the most money, was '04, and our team culture was pretty good. Do you know who our the only problem we had in our department was?
Tell me all about it. The manager?
Me.
You were the problem?
Me. I had a talking to. And I had to change. I had to change to be part of that team.
Okay.
Be part of
now,
that team.
Was that difficult? Was that, was it a realization that you're like, all right, I got to be part of the team?
I was hurt by it at first. And then a fellow team member said, listen, if this guy's able to change, then you should be able to change. I'm like, fine.
Things improved?
Yeah, and we all made more money, and we all got along.
Well, that's great. And now so you're learning about team culture. Is that something that those lessons of kind of holding on to today?
I hate to say it, one of the guys on my team who's not with us anymore. I love him. He's great, great, great guy. Our culture improved after he was gone.
Well, that happens. Not everyone's going to fit in, right?
Two of my main guys who didn't always work great, when I watched them work together, I'm just, wow. Like these guys.
Like they worked really well together. They were.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, team culture is important. Like you can't, if you don't have it, like you can't survive. And you have to be able to recognize it in people who are not going to work.
Yeah, for sure. And you're best to move on it quickly. And it's, it's unfortunate when you have good employees that don't fit in the culture. But you can't let that slow you down, because if those people stick around, they're actually going to your culture will start deteriorating. And,
they're going to suffocate you.
Yes. Yeah. Get a lot of drama, infighting, pettiness, bitterness, all that stuff starts to show up when you have a culture that's not working. And I've seen it time and again when companies merge together and you're trying to merge one culture with another. It's very challenging.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's a set way to do it. But it's people are always trying to find that magic formula. Some people just aren't going to fit in. And that's the thing. You can't force the square peg into the round hole. If those people aren't going to fit, they're not going to fit.
No, that's true.
Okay. So, all right. So we've talked about the origin, your struggles, where you are today. We're talking about 1,000 weddings. That's a big milestone. You can do anything to celebrate that. That's a big milestone. You can do something for yourself, at least for your team. It's big.
Probably more for the team than for me.
Yeah.
You know, I treat myself a lot.
All right. Fair.
So, yeah, you can look at my vacation schedule and know, like, I treat myself quite a bit. So, I don't know if I need to do anything for myself. I would probably do something for my team more than anything. Nice. I thought about years ago when I did my 100th. When I did my 200th wedding, I bought myself a tag.
Wow, nice.
Not an expensive one. They're entry level. It's it's my main watch that I use. It's about $700 I paid for it back in 2011.
Okay. They always had nice watches. I like their stuff.
And I thought I would love to buy like a $3,000 one. Like just a gorgeous tag watch. And in 2012, I tried one on in Vegas. And I tried it on, and I looked at it, and I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't make me feel anything.
No. Wow.
So.
You're over it? All right.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not going to make you feel anything, I wouldn't spend that kind of money either.
I mean, it doesn't mean I don't want a nicer watch than the one I have now, but like, it's really low on the priority list.
So where do we go from here? Where does Bryan Jones photo and video, where does that go from here? What's the next iteration, evolution, or is it just keep on chugging the way you've been doing?
Keep on chugging and basically just being aware of, I have a YouTube page coming out. I do have an idea for TikTok that I'm developing. One thing I've always wanted to do is teach what I know, and I'm just trying to figure out how to do that and to get to that point.
Okay. Nice.
And as much as it terrifies me to do stuff like this or speak in public, once I'm doing it, I'm fine.
Nice. Awesome. It's kind of like the jitters before the wedding kind of thing.
It's the jumping out of the plane moment.
Right? Just need a bit of crazy courage, right? That's it. Take the leap.
Pretty much.
All it takes is 20 seconds of crazy courage. You can accomplish great things. I love that quote.
Yeah. Was it the one from Three Kings? You do the thing you're afraid of most, and then you find the courage as you're doing it.
There you go. Yeah, just jump out of the plane. And
that's courage, really. I mean, you're doing something you're really afraid to do.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, Bryan, I'm going to thank you for your time.
Thanks, Nick.
Bryan Jones, photo and video. I appreciate it very much. And well, we may touch base sometime in the future, just see how things are going and see how you're
Awesome.
doing and evolving. And who knows, maybe you'll be out teaching and have a course, or I don't know. Who knows what you'll have. But I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.